52 Traders, episode 64.
And this girl traded Forex. I had never heard of Forex at that time. And she said that she made 1,000% in a year.
Over the next year, your host Cam Hawkins gets inside the minds of 52 of the world's best traders to find out if he has what it takes to become one of them. Join Cam every week on the 52 Traders podcast or at 52traders.com to learn how to trade like the pros. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not investment, trading, or financial advice of any kind. Trading is very risky and could lose you all of your capital. Any comments about historical performance are not an indication of future results.
What's up, traders? Welcome to another installment of the 52 Traders podcast. I'm your host, Cam Hawkins, and this week we have Scott Welsh on the show. Now, this show is for everyone out there, so if you're into stocks, trading Forex, trading robots, we talk about it all. If you're into sport, we also talk about sport as well. So this show has it all. So we'll welcome Scott onto the show in a second, but before we do, if you haven't already, and if you are into actually robots, so we do talk about robots today, so if you're into robots, you might want to jump onto my other website, automatemytrading.com, and check out the robot that I'm giving away there for free. You can opt in on the homepage, download it, and you can actually watch how I build it as well, so jump on there, automatemytrading.com. Right, guys, let's get on with the show. Right, so welcome, Scott. Thanks for joining me here on 52 Traders this week.
Oh, it's great to be here, Cam.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Look, so I've already mentioned some of your highlights, and what I want you to do now is tell the listeners a bit more about you personally and what first attracted you to trading.
All right, Cam, it's a sad story at first, so I hopefully your listeners don't cry, and hopefully you don't start crying.
Yeah, hopefully I don't.
Or even...
Otherwise I won't be able to do the interview.
It's going to be one of your crying episodes. No, it's not that sad. As a kid, I wanted to be a tennis player. I played a bunch of sports, but by middle school, 13 years old approximately, I fell in love with tennis. I mean, just addicted to tennis. I mean, it was all I thought about. So I started taking lessons and started playing tournaments and that was it. I mean, that was it for me. 7 days a week, I would go and sit at the tennis club on Saturdays and just sit there at 7, 8, 9 in the morning and just sit there all day and play when people asked me or when someone showed up. I mean, it was just addicted, like I said. So about my sophomore year, so after a couple of years, 2-3 years, about my sophomore year of high school, everything ended. And this is the crying part. I got an injury on my sophomore year, just when things were starting to kind of go well for me. I was starting to move my ranking up and starting to get some good wins. I got hurt, and I never got better. That was the end, basically. I didn't know it at 15 years old, but that was the end of my career. I hurt a wrist, which hurt a back, which then I hurt my heel, and it ended up being the heel, the Achilles, and the heel that knocked me out. And I was hurt for about over 20 years from that moment. Like, I couldn't walk upstairs, and I was in constant pain. I had a surgery that was botched. It was a good surgeon. Like, nobody's fault, I guess. But I was in a cast, for months and came out of it, and it was worse. And so, I mean, it was just years and years, and no one could figure out what was wrong. Ended up meeting a doctor years later and got it fixed. But it was a 20-year period where I was just hurt. So I'm 15 years old. This is all I want to do, and tennis is gone. I tried to keep playing. I was out for a year. I went and played in college, but, I couldn't even practice. I couldn't play all the matches. It wasn't until my senior year at college where I could even participate in all the matches on my team. So you can see that there was a drifting period. Hopefully I'm laying it out when you're addicted to something and that's all you want. And then it's taken away. And then you spend 5 or 6 years fighting for that thing, hoping that it'll get better. And it never got better. I did okay in school. I got good grades and I guess I was going to be a lawyer. But I graduated and it's like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't really want to do anything else. And yet I'm drifting. So I accidentally got a job starting a high school tennis program in a local team. They'd never had a program. So they hired this kid, with no pedigree or whatever. And that was it. It was, I walked to the first practice. They were almost all beginners. And it was like a lightning bolt struck me. It's like, this is what I want to do. Like, I was just, and so that was it. So I got obsessed all over again. And so I got involved with tennis, and that was, literally out of college, 22, 23 years old, and that was it for me. And I did nothing else for a long time. And then about 5, 10 years in, Cam, I realized that maybe tennis pros need to save up a little bit of money because tennis pros have no retirement plan, right? You work by the hour,
Yeah.
right? I wouldn't recommend being a tennis pro. I mean, I was in love with it, so it mattered not to me. But it's like, if I don't teach it, if I'm not on the court till I'm 70 or 80, like, where does my income come from? And so that is the long-winded version of how I got into trading. I said to myself, I got to learn how to make some money off the court. Now, I had saved up some money by then. I was doing okay. And that's how it all began. So that was around 2003, 2002. And then I began trading very seriously 2004. Actually, I started late 2003. So that was my life. It was on the court, and then off the court, every waking second was spent studying stocks and trading. So there you go.
What did you get into trading? What made you? I know you had to make some money, otherwise you would have been, sort of left penniless later in your life. But
yes.
But what was why trading?
I thought it was, well, first of all, being an athlete, you're very, very competitive. And I had a very bad competitive streak. It was, my self-worth as a kid and even as a coach, my self-worth was largely dictated on whether my students won or whether I won or lost. Like, I'm a good person if I win, I'm a bad person if I lose, and I'm a good person if my student wins, and I'm a bad person if my student loses. It was really, really unhealthy. So to do something with my money, I kind of wanted something competitive at that time. And trading, I'd always loved numbers. I'd always been fascinated with statistics since I was I would keep statistics in my baseball leagues, and I would keep my tennis statistics, and I would do my own tennis rankings. I mean, very obsessed with statistics. So when you marry competitiveness with the love of stats, trading, I just read a Warren Buffett book, and that was it for me. I just Warren Buffett is the greatest, and I'm going to study stocks, and I can be great at this too. So that's basically how I got into it.
Cool. So talking about stats, we can move on to the next question. So,
sure.
So can you give our listeners a bit of an insight into your trading? So we want to know what style you trade, how you trade, strategies, time frames, average trade durations, all the stats that come with it, winning percentages, that sort of thing. Okay, so that was the first part of the show. Now, to hear the full episode, the best bits, join the family at 52traders.com. They usually go for about 45 minutes to an hour long, and trust me, these shows are great. They give us so much insight. Now, if you want to get there quickly, all you need to do is jump into the show description on your phone, and there's a link taking you directly to 52traders.com, where you can join the family over there and listen to the full episode. Now, in the rest of the show, I cover off what my traders do differently from the rest of us. So what is it that they're doing that we're not doing? What their typical trading day looks like, what they would do if they had a day job now and wanted to trade for a living, their preferred trading strategy, so actually how does it work? What we should be educating ourselves on when we're looking at a price chart, so what indicators we should use, what price levels, what chart patterns, all those sorts of things. Also, we touch on fundamentals as well, so how do we use news to our advantage? Trading psychology, tips, tricks, techniques, we go through those. Exiting trades, managing trades that you've got running, so we talk about their strategies. They give you strategies for exiting and managing trades. Books to read, websites to visit, all the best ones. Something that you should try and master over the next month, the broker and platform they use. And finally, last but not least, they give us a full trading strategy, so something you guys can try out at home on your PC this week in the markets if you wish. Now, to get the full episode, you need to jump onto 52traders.com, join the family. As I said, it usually goes on for 45 minutes to an hour, and there's a link in the show description, so if you're on your phone, just jump on there, tap the link, and it'll take you straight to 52traders.com. Now, if you're thinking about learning to automate any of your trading, hiring a developer, learning to code, that sort of thing, then before you do that, jump onto my other website, automatemytrading.com. So if you're interested in automating some or all of your trading, then jump onto automatemytrading.com and you'll see me over there. For now, to hear the rest of this episode, all you need to do is click on the link in the show description or go to 52traders.com. See you there.